Hello and welcome back to another episode of KSP Real Solar System Campaign. For this episode we're going to launch our crewed space program, and we are going to start off with the mission First Crewed Orbital. So we'll go ahead and accept that, and we can also, let's see, surely, pass the Carmen line crewed as well. The design for our first manned spacecraft is now pretty much finished. The only problem is that we don't have any astronauts, so we had to go ahead and start a recruiting campaign, inviting various willing and unwilling candidates to undergo a series of tests that were designed to test the abilities of potential pilots and astronauts. These tests included botched launch attempts. It also involved a live actual test of a launch abort system. They also involved failed rocket-powered aircraft tests. Then there was a mandatory G-force tolerance test. And last but not least, the candidates had to hang off the side of a spacecraft. And on the basis of all those tests, Mikael Essen was selected as the lucky or unlucky pilot for our first manned mission. And due to the secrecy of this government program, we only have this low-res photo of Mr. Essen. The Compact 1 rocket is now ready for launch, marking the beginning of our manned space program. So we're going to light up the engines, release the clamps, and we have liftoff. Now this is a modified version of the Progress 2 booster that I used in my previous lunar mission, except I took out the third stage, and instead I enlarged the first and second stage a little bit, so you can see that we have about 9.5 kilometers per second delta V in total, and that should be enough to take us to orbit and safely back, hopefully with Mikael Essen alive. We are getting close to first stage separation right now. Altitude is at 55 kilometers, apoapse is at 110 kilometers, orbital velocity 3.5 kilometers per second. And that's the end of the first stage. And we got an orbital velocity of 4 kilometers per second out of that. If you look at, well, our time to apoapse is a little over 2 minutes now, and the second stage has a burn time of 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So we're going to fire the second stage in just a minute now. So we separate the first stage as well as the fairings, fire the Eurage thrusters, and light up the second stage main engine. We're going to point that right on the horizon. So we're just going to let this burn for about 2 minutes, I think, and then we'll hopefully be in orbit. We're almost at orbital velocity now, so we're getting ready to cut the second stage main engine. Just need to get it. Oh, it's going to be... I'll just have to cut it there. I was a little... I raised my apoapse way too high now, I think, because I was a little low. I hit the apoapse during the second stage burn too early, and I had to make some corrections. So we ended up a little low, and then to try to compensate for that, we ended up raising our apoapse way too much. Just detached the second stage now, and this spacecraft is working just fine at the moment. We're going to let it do half an orbit to get to apoapse, then we're going to burn to raise our periapse above the atmosphere. I have plenty of RCS on this spacecraft. We're going to turn it around. I'm not sure why these RCS engines aren't firing. That's a really bad sign, actually. And we are just going to raise the periapse above 140. So we have a successful orbit now, but I think I didn't put the right type of fuel for these RCS thrusters in this tank on the service module, because the intent was to have a detachable service module that would return separately from the main capsule. And this service module has a lot of science instruments and some batteries, and it's fully autonomous actually, so it was supposed to return back on its own. But I think now we have to actually return it together with the main capsule. So I'm going to take some photographs, see if there is any kind of data we can gather. There definitely is some. We're also going to do an EVA on this mission, so that is another first. Crew report we're going to need. No new telemetry. And we can just do our EVA right away. And he doesn't have to do much, just get the report, keep experiment and get back in. There is not a lot else to do. With the deorbit burn completed now, we have lowered our periapse down to roughly 100 kilometers. And we are going to return this entire thing. I don't want to lose all the science gathered in this. Well, actually, wait a minute. Can I pick up the experiments from here? No. Yeah, I don't think I can collect these photographs and put them back in, because then we could have just ditched this service module and returned with the spacecraft alone. But I don't think that's going to be an option here. So we are going to return with the entire spacecraft. Although that is quite dangerous, I think, because this whole thing is so heavy. We have quite a few parachutes, so that should be fine. But I don't know if this is going to stabilize aerodynamically or if it's just going to burn up because it's just too heavy, and hopefully this heat shield will be able to take the impact. We're at about 100 kilometers now. I use some RCS fuel in the spacecraft to slow us down a bit further. We have 1.5 minutes to periapse, and I do think we're going to go for the orbit on this first try, although there is still a chance we could bounce out, and then we'll have to go for another try at re-entering, which wouldn't be too bad. It would actually be safer since we're effectively aero braking. So we are passing over the periapse now. Another thing is that this capsule has its own heat shield actually. So, but we stacked another one on top of that, just for safety reasons. Passing well past periapse. So I was definitely wrong. I think we're not going to go for a full deorbit on this first try, but I'll be back in a bit for our second go. Periapse is at 97 kilometers, so this, I believe this should be enough to go to re-enter, hopefully safely. There is a chance that this could go seriously wrong due to the weight of the spacecraft, and I certainly did not intend to have both the service module and the main capsule re-enter at the same time. Also going over the horizon now, and we should see a pretty sunrise any minute now. And you can see that both the periapse and apoapse is falling at this moment. There we have a beautiful sunrise right over the horizon. And if we look at the map, we're passing over the Pacific Ocean now. And we're probably going to land in the Pacific Ocean as well. Although, no, I don't think we can make it all the way to Mexico. So it's probably going to be a wet landing again in the Pacific, like we have done previously when we re-entered with a simple probe. Apoapse and periapse is really starting to fall right now, and we can start seeing the first effects on orbital velocity, which is now slowing down as we hit denser and denser parts of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is really holding a grip on the spacecraft right now, as we are starting to get the first heat effects, and the heat shield is slowly starting to ablate away. And now orbital velocity is dropping a lot faster, as we are getting a lot of heat now. G-forces are really starting to climb. Let's hope. I mean, this is a manned mission, so let's hope they don't climb too high. I mean, Mikael Essen won't be able to take too much G-forces for too long, as our G-meter hits 3 Gs, climbing to 4 Gs. It's still not critical, but we are going to hit 5 Gs soon. Let's speed it up a bit. We are getting some real serious G-forces right now. 7 Gs. Getting up to 8 Gs now. 9 Gs. Oh, this is getting really critical. I don't know how long he can survive at 9 Gs of acceleration. So it looks like the G-meter has just topped out now. And this looks like it's actually going to be a successful re-entry. Even with the service module attached, we still managed to re-enter. We also had a successful parachute deployment, and we are going for a successful wet landing. And on this particular mission we gathered 86 science. We recovered 9,713 funds from our recovered parts, and Mikael Essen has advanced to level 1 of experience as a pilot. And that was our first successful manned space mission, and a huge milestone for our space program. So now we're going to have a look at some of the things we can research. So we can go for early hydrolox engines, or we could go for mature solids. I can't afford second generation capsules, but I can go for electrics, which will give us some antennas, more solar panels. But I think we're going for the hydrolox engines, which is going to improve the efficiency of our rockets significantly. And that is going to be it for this episode of KSP Real Solar System Campaign. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again in a future video. So take care and bye.